Hi, everybody. Hello again from Hartford. um, as we, as I sit here, I am actually the Finance Committee is having its first public hearing, and you can probably hear in the background that's people testifying. I came out to take a brief break and to talk to you. We are on about person number 14 or 15 out of 153, so it'll be a long day. But Connecticut, as I've noted before, is somewhat unusual in having public hearings and inviting the public to come in and tell us what they think about things. So it's always valuable to hear from people. We encourage people to sign up in panels who are all part of the same group so that the day can go a little bit more efficiently and you can actually have a better discussion with a group of people. But we take the time to make sure we hear from everybody. So I will be here as soon as I'm done with this. I will head back up to Committee Room 2E to listen to that. The other big event of the week is we were in session yesterday to vote on a couple of bills, a few bills, but the two major ones were what is known as an eCert, or they were both eCerted, which it's short for emergency certification, and it basically is we skip part of the process because things are deemed to be an emergency. And we had a lot of conversation about whether there's one bill that had a lot of things in it, and the second one was related to the bottle bill, which I'll talk about in a minute. The larger one, with about a dozen different issues in it, was the subject of a lot of conversation because, honestly, there's subjectivity in what constitutes an emergency. Sometimes it's a situation that has arisen urgently and has to be dealt with urgently, and there isn't enough time to go through the regular process. And sometimes there's other reasons, and a lot of what we did yesterday was part of it were things that have arisen urgently in the last couple months and need to be addressed immediately, and others were things that we should have gotten. They related to bills that were strongly bipartisan and passed last year, but didn't get passed by the other chamber, and for a variety of reasons we won't comment on, but procedural reasons that a couple people decided to hold up the process. And again, these were strongly bipartisan policies. And so, but in fairness, we had a lot of conversation because it's not the regular process to do things by eCert and skip. The regular process slows things down. This is quicker, but it also can be prone to making mistakes. And so, a lot of what we did actually was focused on fixing mistakes. And I think it's important that sometimes not all policy is about big ideas. Sometimes it's about going back and honestly saying, we got that a little bit wrong. Or sometimes it's as small as getting the name of a school that was getting a construction project just slightly wrong. And when it's just slightly wrong, the money can't flow to that school. And the school year has begun. All of the municipalities, school districts, nonprofits involved in some of the issues yesterday, they operate on different calendars than we, the legislature, do. And when they didn't, they expected things to happen last spring that didn't. And so we were trying to address that. Not all of the issues, the ones that can wait, we put off. And we had a lot of conversations over the last week pushing items that people wanted. It's very tempting to put things in an eCert and skip the process. And so we pushed a lot of things off that plate. But there remained a bunch of issues in there that we felt we needed to tweak. And so, honestly, a legitimate conversation in a lot of places, but I'm glad that we got that done and allowed those little mistakes not to become bigger, disruptive, costly ones. And so hopefully we saved not just the state, but also municipalities and other organizations larger costs that they would have faced had we not fixed those mistakes. The other one was the bottle bill. And I know a lot of you in the district have been very engaged in the bottle bill, which has to do with redemption. When you buy a bottle, certain kinds of bottles in Connecticut, you are paying a 10% deposit on that. If you redeem it, you get that 10 cents back. So it shouldn't, be a tax. You have the ability to get that money back. But what's happening is Connecticut raised it to 10 cents, and our neighboring states, which we thought were going to join us, did not. And so we're at 10 cents. Our neighboring states are at 5 cents. There are a fair number of bad actors that are kind of arbitraging that and saying paying the 5% deposit in, say, New York, and then coming to Connecticut and getting 10 cents back. And that's a trade some people of bad intention will make all day. And it is costing some of our distributors quite a lot of money. And so we have had a lot of meetings in the last few weeks that I've been a part of. I've been involved in the bottle bill for a long time because I sit on the Environment Committee, but now as chair of finance, it does affect the state's finances because that bills get not all bottles get redeemed, and so there's a difference. There's a lot of vocabulary in this area that's very complicated, but it's called escheats, which is the difference between what is paid in deposits and what is paid out in redemptions, and that's always a positive balance. And so we've had a lot of discussion over the years of whether it used to entirely revert to the state. We now share it with distributors and others who have set up redemption centers, who have set up a system, because we want to encourage redemption. We want to encourage recycling. So environmentalists are a big part of this conversation. But the system's not working as intended right now. There's a lot of some distributors that are experiencing redemption of well over 100%. So clearly those are not all bottles sold in Connecticut. The solution is going to involve law enforcement. It's going to involve systems. It's going to involve self-policing. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. And one of the proposals, is to take it back to 5 cents. So the bottle bill revision that we looked at yesterday basically looked at what resources we have available to us right now that we can help the distributors who are experiencing this outflow of money as a result of our policy. Wasn't something they did, to help them staunch the bleeding right now, while we work on a longer term solution. It also had some increased, enforcement provisions and increased penalties, things like that. But it was a stepping stone, and so it was. I'm glad we did it. There are a lot of stakeholders, this one, a lot of people involved. But what I want to note about it is that we had a debate on the floor in which someone brought an amendment just proposing to take it to 5 cents, because in a very sort of straightforward way, that does get rid of the problem, taking it back to 5 cents instead of 10 cents. But as I pointed out on the floor yesterday, the problem with that in this moment, because when we were in session this week, the Senate went first. They passed the bill as written. And if we change it and add an amendment to it, the Senate is not coming back into session, and it'll take some while for them to get back, and the whole deal could fall apart. And those who are most experiencing the pain of over-redemption will get no resources from the state. And so even though that's a perfectly good proposal and one that we should have on the table going forward as we figure out how to make the bottle bill work for Connecticut and all those involved in it, you can't get... if we passed that amendment, it would have stopped the relief to those who most need it. So the amendment was defeated and we passed it. So we will have many more meetings addressing it going forward, but I think it was a step forward to help the distributors who are most experiencing that pain. So I hope you are enjoying the sunshine. It looks nice outside. I think I'm going to be here till late in the evening. And have a great weekend.